Well, the federal government finally got downgraded. You spend like a drunken sailor and you expect your credit to stay the same. Doesn't work that way. Good morning, Brendan Rendo with the Homes in Orlando team, joined again by Joseph Dion of Appley Home Loans. And they acted like they were shocked, Joe. You know, it just absolutely nuts. So, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Am I frozen? Please tell me I'm not frozen.
No, we're good. We're good.
All right.
All right.
Well, that's that heart palpitation. Like the system doesn't even want me to talk today because they're like, "What is going on?" Throw fundamentals out the roof, out the window. It
got
doesn't
a little
matter.
crushed this morning, huh?
We got crushed this morning. We got crushed yesterday, and then it rebounded a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But today doesn't look like so good because we're seeing the charts and we're seeing some trends that could be very bad for us.
Yep. Well, let's look at the headline. Fitch downgrades U.S. credit rating on fiscal deterioration. This is only the second time in history this has been done. Mm-hmm. Last time was 2011, and we saw the market totally crapped out at that point as well. And that's basically what we're seeing. And why did they give? What was their explanation? The expected fiscal deterioration over the next 3 years.
Wonder what that means.
It means you can't spend twice as much as you take in. We've had those discussions with our clients, is you have to stop. We just dealt with one who had a year to put things together, had a lease with an option to purchase, and we're not able to help them because they didn't do it. They kept spending at the exact same rate, actually a little bit greater, then actually missed payments. You can't keep doing it.
Wait. You can't? There's repercussions?
There's repercussions.
Even for the government?
Even for our government, believe it or not.
I thought we just wrote our own rules.
Yeah. Then high and growing general government debt burden. We are just printing money like it's going out of style. I mean, it is absolutely unbelievable. Over the next two quarters, the one ending in September and then the one ending in December, they are going to issue $1.852 trillion worth of debt.
Yep.
Where's all that money coming from?
Well, you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, right?
They have money in the repo pool, but that's being dwindled away.
Oh, yeah.
That's being dwindled away. And what is it when you're putting out all this debt? What has to happen? If you want people to buy it, what has to happen? Rates have to go up.
Have to go up, right? Like, who's going to buy debt that doesn't look good? They've got to have good returns to justify, right?
Mm-hmm. And it kind of hit me this morning in that I know we talked last week about the spread that currently happens with mortgages. And I'm wondering if they're looking at this going, okay, the federal government's going to be issuing $1.88 trillion worth of debt. We have to look more attractive than the treasury yields are looking. So is that one of the underlying causes of the spread being double what it normally is?
Maybe.
Knowing that with the Fed continuing to issue this much debt, I've got to keep that spread up because the yield is more than likely going to continue to go up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we look at the 10-year this morning, oh man, it is just going out the roof.
We're going, and we're gonna keep sailing. I think. I mean,
yeah. You closed yesterday at 4.7. We're already up 1/10 of a point.
Well, the thing is we're above our high, like 4.09 was our highest resistant line.
Yep.
Basically, like we're kind of sitting in a fun little no man's land right now.
Yep. And I learned something yesterday from one of the gentlemen I watch. It's called bowl and ladle. And let me explain it to you. We have our peak here. We come down into our bowl, right? There's our bowl. Then we've got our ladle right here. How long is the handle on a ladle?
Oh, it's long.
Where do you see us going? If it follows the concept, we could easily be looking at 4.25, 4.3, which is at the current spread. We're going to be looking very close to that 8% interest rate on mortgages in a very short period of time. Very short period of time.
It's, yeah. And that's kind of where we are, like fundamentals across the board. Well, and I shouldn't say fundamentals. It's kind of responding in ways that do have some fundamental action. But some of the data that we're getting, it's kind of like if we get data that would typically hurt rates, we're seeing rates really fly out. But then data that says would help rates isn't helping rates at all anymore. Because I think there's that overall concern of, you have the credit rating, you go down, you have this, you have all these little pieces that are happening. And it's like, well, the data that would help isn't enough anymore. Like we're going to need massive. And I think everybody is seeing a trend of, okay, like we keep on talking about soft landing, but we're seeing a trend of like, this will, if you have a plane and they have to have an emergency landing because one of the wheels fell off, there ain't nothing soft about that landing.
They're talking, prices are coming back up on homes. They're reapproaching the peak of the pandemic. But is that really more of a dead cat bounce than anything else? Where we hit it and we're peaked back up. Because all of a sudden you start having to write 8% mortgages. I'm sorry, people aren't going to get the price that they want. Something has to break.
Yeah.
And the thing that's going to break are the prices.
That's what would have to break, right? Like, you look at it across the board, and it's just not a lot of wiggle room for anything else. There's, you think about and you read across the way, like inflation is up, all right, home values are up, right, price, interest rates are up, insurance is up, like home prices are higher, so property taxes are high. Yeah. Like at a certain point, like it gets to. There's just no more room for people to go. No. And I saw like Freddie Mac reported their second quarter profits for 2023 was $2.9 billion for Freddie Mac. And you think about this and I'm like, wait, like, so that was a 41% increase from Q1 and a 20% increase year over year.
Jeez.
So you're telling me that Freddie Mac is 20% more profitable on the quarter year over year than last year, which was a hotter market with way more transactions.
Yeah. Ton more transactions.
Because interest rates are higher. Like we've got so many other things. We've got like they don't need to do as much, right? To the point that I think Freddie Mac eliminated like 538, somewhere around there, $1 million from their loss reserves. Like they didn't need them anymore because they were so. I mean, they're getting in a good position. Like Freddie Mac, they're liking where we are. But the concern is like, well, how much longer can this continue?
Yep.
And I don't know what we're kind of off the cuff on what we're going to talk about today, but it's, we see the market's reaction and we see things that are happening that are very like, the two reports that came out today within minutes of each other, right? Was the Challenger job cut report, right? Which is how many layoffs from major corporations that were reported to the Department of Labor for last month came out at like 8:37 a.m. And it was 23,697 layoffs in July, which was lower than prior month, which was 40,000, and was the lowest since August of 2022. But what happened? We only had 23,697 layoffs. What company just went out of business over the weekend?
Yellow.
And they shut their doors down on July 31st, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was July. And they laid off their entire company.
30,000 plus.
30,000 employees. So how come July's numbers that looks at layoffs based on mass layoff data from state departments of labor, why is it less than 30,000?
Because the people haven't registered for their unemployment yet. And until they register,
here, right?
You don't count them.
Like, so like there's 30,000 people let go. That was a major news, but that's not the effect. So we should be at 53,000, which would be higher than last month, which would be, continue to see that growth, but we don't see it.
Yeah.
But then,
well, look at what AT&T's CEO yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Resigned.
Yeah, resigned.
Because why? Massive layoffs are coming.
So, I mean, we're going to see, but here's the weird part. Okay. You look at the data and you're like, wow, we have less layoffs. This is great. Economy's doing well. Rates keep going up because we saw the market MBS go up, like, right in that minute go up like 40 bips and I froze.
Yeah.
Right. But then the jobless, the first time reporting unemployment, like claiming unemployment, those numbers came out and they were 6,000 higher than the prior, and were slightly above what they were projecting.
Yeah.
But
the market doesn't react the same way.
It didn't react the same way. It didn't go, wait, maybe we need to balance back out and go, this is saying we're too hot of a market, and this one's saying actually it's getting worse. Like in that data, 3 minutes apart.
Yep. We had talked about the Fed for September, right? That we both felt that maybe they'd hold off. Right now, 82. Yeah. Was it 82%? Oh, 82% is saying no change. Okay. So we got 17. So right now we're actually holding steady at where people think they're going to be. But the other thing I wanted to show real quick is ADP came out with their numbers, and we knew how accurate they were last month, right? There were only about 250,000 difference between ADP and the government's numbers, somewhere in that ballpark.
Super close.
Yeah. So we got, what is it, 400? Where is it? 324,000 new jobs in July.
Wow.
Okay. But look where 200,000 of them are. Leisure and hospitality.
You think those are going to last?
No.
Are those like
summer jobs?
Summer jobs.
I mean, are you going to be, you're not affording a house at 8% interest rates, with a leisure and hospitality job. It just, you're sitting there looking at these numbers and it's like, what's going on? Then you got Yellen, who, basically just shaked it off. Hey, Finch, you're wrong. And her comment was, with the passage of the bipartisan legislation to address the debt limit, invest in infrastructure, and make our investments in American competitiveness. That, hey, it's all good. We had the debt limit. They did away with the debt limit. There is no debt limit. And what have they been doing since the moment it got approved the end of May? What have they been doing? Spending everything they can. They took the credit cards and they're on vacation and they're traveling around the world. And they've they're going to ring up close to $3 trillion in debt since it's been approved. And you wonder why you got downgraded. Oh, this was the one I laugh. I'm sorry, I got a good laugh out of this because this is, hey, we're under control because President Biden has put forward a budget that will reduce the deficit by 2.6 trillion over the next decade.
That
So
sounds
wow, so
fantastic.
you're spending $6 trillion a year, $6 or $7 trillion a year, and well, instead of spending 7 trillion, we're going to spend 6.75 trillion. Wow, we've really, really done well.
We're improving.
We're improving. Yeah, we're getting better.
You know what? Let's just tax the rich. Let's just,
Yeah, I mean, Elon's got what, 2-3 trillion? Well, no, he doesn't.
No.
What about Gates? No.
I don't know.
Hey, but we got 87,000 new IRS agents, so I'm sure we'll find that, $3 trillion someplace. It has just gotten.
It's really, really tough. And the thing is, we look at it from across the, not just from the US on a world impact, like almost the entire world has a spending problem. And the only people that don't have a spending problem are the countries that aren't big enough to get, like, nobody wants to give them credit.
Yeah. Yeah. And Japan totally changed their fiscal policy.
Oh, yeah.
On the way.
Overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. On Friday. So that can impact how our debt is seen because they're going more to a system very similar to us. They're changing 30 years of monetary policy.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that going on. You've got truly the de-dollarization of the world. So there's not as big a demand for dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what's that do? Forces interest rates up.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the adult in the room is going to be, or if we're going to hit that point where it just, you can't do it anymore.
Well, and the hard part is, you look at America and everybody else, and there's so many countries that are in debt, but not the way the U.S. is.
No.
Wait, and I know that, like, without getting into geopolitical and this and that, like, we have a spending problem. We know we have a spending problem, but part of my concern is like, why are we sending millions and millions and millions of dollars to other countries or to Ukraine and so forth and all this when we've got a problem on our side that we have to figure out. I mean, China's the second highest world debt and they're half of ours, less than half of ours.
Less than half.
Like, that's bad.
Yeah. And
like, what happens when these countries start wanting to collect?
They keep saying, "Oh, the economy's doing well. Economy's doing well." Well, why is the economy doing well? It's because of that continued debt spending. You take the debt out of our spending, and we hit the biggest depression this country's ever seen. It's going to be like a heroin addict going straight. It will be.
Cold turkey.
Just
lock us up. Put us in a padded room.
I mean, that's at some point, that's what's going to happen is we're going to hit that cold, no one wants our money. We either get hyperinflation again or we stop. And when we stop, it's going to be like a heroin addict going to cold turkey. It's going to be painful. It's going to be several years of really tough times. You don't want to be doom and gloom, but we're realists. We got clients, we have one, we've been trying to help for a year and explain to them, hey, this is what needs to be done. This is what needs to be done. And then they don't listen and they can't get the house that they have the opportunity to get. And they're like, well, this, well, that, well, this. It's like, no, you can't just let everything pull you. You've got, discipline, and there is no. I mean, you look at every aspect of things in the U.S. these days. There's not a lot of discipline in anything anymore. We've lost it.
Yeah.
And I just see, I joked with you earlier this year. I was hoping not to be right that, hey, I think the end of the year we're actually going to see 8% interest rates.
Well, we're in new territory.
Yes, we are. It has not been this high.
So if we see, I'm not seeing the markets adjust back down or anything like, so far. So it's
it's holding right there. And they've got, they're issuing, forgot how many billions of 10-year T's in this week, I think it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot.
Yeah. I mean, you got $1 trillion of debt being issued now between now and the end of September.
You got to make it sexy.
That is not going to be a good environment to push down rates.
No. Because people don't want to buy. It's going to be interesting to see the demand. And I think we're in an environment where they're trying to make sure it looks good. The returns have to be good to get people to buy. We're going to have fun. We're going to see. Let me see. ISM Service Index report came out, and confidence in the service industry decreased month over month. We're at 52.7, below the expectation of 53, and last month we were at 53.9. So there's 201,000 jobs added in the hospitality and service industry.
Yep.
That's the report that talks about that. That one directly impacts those jobs, and it's going down.
It's going down. Well, look at manufacturing. Our manufacturing index has been below 50 now.
Yeah.
Pretty much the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not producing anything. We got to get back to being a production nation.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the stimulus spending is to be spent on building different manufacturing facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, that does take time. But again, it was based off of deficit spending. Yeah. No, the problem is that once we've got so many special interests, is once someone stands up and says we can't do this anymore, oh boy, the screaming going to get loud.
Oh, it will.
Oh my gosh, is it going to get loud? But all right. Well, let's look at our numbers for this week. So actually, it wasn't too bad a week. Held steady, really right in line. 479 homes sold. Our inventory went up 53 units in the houses. Our condos, 154, a little bit more. And then again, the inventory increased. And our original list to final list. And this is going to where we're going to have to watch this over the next couple weeks, because we're sitting right at, right below the 98%. So that's about 2% off of where the final list price is. And I think with the rates taking a jump, people are going to have to try and negotiate to get better deals. I think we're going to see, I bet you we're probably going to see a push for that 2-1 buy down again, or the 1-1 buy downs.
I've been getting that question so much. There was like 2 months of radio silence where that didn't matter anymore. And now everybody's asking that question. Yep.
And I think I'm actually going to talk to one of my sellers about possibly putting together a promotion with the buy down to try and get some stimulated growth, because we'd already seen a decrease in showings on several listings that I have. And we still have the value there. The values haven't dropped yet. We still got the values there. So it's how do you use that value to help push the home. And then quite honestly, I'm really thinking that we go back and offer a 2-1 or a 1-1 type of buy down for buyers. Make it more attractive to get into the house. That's
Yep.
one reason why the builders have been so successful is all of them are offering buy down programs on their interest rates right now. Everybody, you look, everything advertised, everything coming across on a daily basis from all these builders. They're advertising it doesn't sound great, but it's still better than what it is. 5.75, on an FHA, 5.5 buy down on a conventional loan. So when you're looking going from 7 to 5.5, that point and a half interest rate. But what I don't want to see is what we saw back in 2006, 2007, where we had the 2-1 arms, which was very similar. Where you had that introductory rate, and in the 2 years, all of a sudden everybody's rate went through the roof, and you had a ton of foreclosures. That's what you don't want to see, and that's I worry sometimes people look at the payments and don't look at the whole equation.
Yeah, but I think when we had that, we were our qualification standards were much lower too.
Oh yeah,
right? Like, so we're still qualifying people on the payment that high, like the full payment, not the discounted payment. But the other side of that is it's, even though we're qualifying people on the bigger one, a shock of a $300 increase in monthly payments still, like, whether they can afford it or not, that's still like a holy crap, I can't afford it, because there is that concern of, if your payment is X, you're going to start spending the difference.
Yep.
Because you don't have that,
even
though it's going to be here in 2 years.
Yes.
This gap is like, oh, well, gas is more expensive, electricity is more expensive. Maybe I'll go get furniture on credit, and because I can afford that payment. And then all of a sudden, they see an adjustment. And I think the entire hope of this 2-1 buy down is that there's going to be a refinance market, right?
Yeah, and based on the numbers we went through today,
the concern is like, and I keep on joking, I said, there will be a refinance. I've talked to a lot of people about this, right? There'll be a refinance market. At a certain point, there will be a market for refinances. But the key is if we're here, like if you're at 6.5 and rates go to 8.5, they may only go back to 6.5. So you think that they're going to go to 4.5, you may not be a part of it. Like, that refinance boom is only going to be based off of where the height goes and then back down. So if it keeps going up, that correction, so to speak, that a lot of people are talking about may not
benefit you. Yeah.
Like, you may not be able to benefit from it because maybe your rate is already lower than where it's going to be. I don't know. That's the hard part. And if we see rates continue to trend up, I think there are going to be people that are purchasing now that are in the 6.5, 7, that maybe they don't see the savings that they had hoped they were going to see.
Hope for. Yep. Very true. Inventory wise, we're slowly making up the deficit in inventory. We're actually where we were at a peak of nearly 20%.
Yep.
We're down to 11% from January 1st. So you see, we're slowly moving up. I think we're going to see this trend here, which is the average days on market, where, we were holding steady in that 40 range. We dropped a little bit to 35, which, July usually is a really good month. It was consistent, but it wasn't blowout like it normally is. I think we're going to start seeing this come back up. And with the days on market going up, I think we're going to start seeing the inventory continue to grow up, especially if rates continue in the manner that they're continuing right now. Because you look at condos are very similar. They've actually started to increase days on market. We're holding steady at the 98%. But this is why. Look at the inventory for condos. We're actually 8% above the beginning of the year. We've had a very strong increase in the number of condos. Yeah, I actually just listed one out in Windsor Palms, and I was reading through the budget for this year, and we had mentioned this, but they had a 67% increase in their insurance costs of $80,000. And the HOA fee, I think, went up for all units like $40 a month.
Yeah. It's a big jump.
That's a big jump. And I think that's what's unfortunately happened to a lot of condos is, yeah, they're still affordable, but then when you put in those updated HOAs with the new insurance costs, man, it's making it tough for them.
Yep.
It's gonna make it harder overall.
Yeah, and as a homeowner, right? Like as the person that owns that home, what are they going to be looking at? Like, will the appetite be there when you start hearing, when it starts making mainstream news that HOA costs are going out the roof? Is the appetite still going to be there? Because insurance is insurance, but it's hard when you're paying association dues and you have your insurance for your unit, but then the association's like, boom, it's going up. Deal with it.
Deal with it. Nothing you can do.
Deal with it. And the bad part about associations is, the condos is if people can't deal with it, like what happens when they get a large number in default, right? That aren't paying their dues or behind. Now they lose condo approval, which eliminates the ability to get new, traditional loans in there. So it limits the buyer pool. So then you end up with the people that are paying end up having to pay a bigger share. Yep.
Which we went through again back during the Great Recession. We had a number of, and that number of condo associations go bankrupt. And that's why even today, you don't see a lot of FHA approved condo communities. I can think of one or two actually in all of Orlando that are FHA approved. Plus they made the cost of getting approval ridiculous.
Yeah, that too.
Well, we thank you for joining us. Please join us again every Thursday. Please hit the like and subscribe. We look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Have a wonderful day.